And here we go. Do I look rough? I haven't put any makeup on today. Good morning, it's Dave Crane here, live from Mauritius. And it's another cool day because tomorrow we actually start the World Club Tens Rugby Finals. Major teams involved: Brumbies, Saracens, Sharks. We've got some all-star teams, Toulon. We've got so many teams, it's unbelievable. I'm also part of bringing rugby into the community here in Mauritius because they're predominantly into football. Let me put this in perspective for you. The fans or members of the local rugby football association is something in the region of about 600 members, whereas Manchester United fan club on the island registers somewhere in the region of 100,000 members. Everywhere you go, everyone's either Manchester United or not Manchester United. Now, this is a great thing because myself and Andy Mavis have a job of hosting and putting this whole thing together. In fact, should we go and sit in the balcony? I think you might enjoy it slightly better because the weather's all very good. Yesterday I showed you all around the apartment, so now I'm going to show you all around the outside. Let's do this on the balcony because there's a step there. It's a much better view. Yes, I didn't notice a step. It was terrible. Okay, so in the background here you can see how beautiful this place truly is. Oh my goodness, look at that. Isn't that cool? A little bit windy, so I've got to be very careful you don't get too much wind on the microphone. In fact, what I'll do with this is I'll move you around to here, so hopefully you won't get too much noise on the microphone. I can still chat to you. That better? Still with me? Fantastic. So the Dial Emirates, we've been down to have a look at the grounds. Absolutely fantastic, really exciting. But the problem is, we've got to find a way of getting the audience to buy in. Now, what I want to do just now is I want to share some ideas about doing public speaking. First rule of public speaking, first rule of any kind of performance is don't sit down. Why? Because the energy is different. When you stand up, it makes a massive difference. You feel grounded, you feel that your whole body can be involved in the whole process, and you don't feel stifled in the same way. So that means even if you're doing a boardroom session, you should really stand up at all times and make sure the energy is different. Okay, every audience, I'm going to tell you about public speaking as in working a live audience, okay? Whenever you work with any audience, and this is probably true for any part of business as well, by the way, is either you train them or they train you. Now, how does that work? Well, from the very beginning, you have to put your stamp on the event. You have to say that you're in charge, and also that what you're going to be doing is worth their attention. There's something in it for them. And you will guarantee that if they pay attention and play ball, that they'll have a wonderful time. Now, this isn't always easy to do, and you can't always turn around and demand that they pay attention to you, because for certain reasons, they might be busy talking to somebody else, they might be busy doing something else. They might also have an agenda of their own that goes against what you're doing, like maybe even having fun. So you have to work out how to get all their attention and to guarantee that they stay with you all the way through the flow. One of the best ways to do it is to turn around and say, have I got everyone's attention? How's everybody doing? There's some people listening to me in the background down there. I think we're busy cleaning the pool. Should we have a look, see who they are? Over there. You see, just in the pool? It's a bit wet. I'm not going to go in the pool today. But as I was saying, so you've got to make sure that everything's set up, including the noise in the background from people cleaning the pool. So whenever you work with an audience, have an agenda that's very simple. Lots of things that you can share with them, but then within that agenda, you should be free to think. So I tend to work with bullet points rather than work with a complete script. A lot of reasons for doing that, not least because if the wind blows my bullet points away, I can still think on my feet. But if I miss my point because if I'm reading through a proper script and somebody distracts me or something comes up, then I have to find my place again, and all this happens live in front of an audience. So as much as possible, narrow it right down so there's very little things that can go wrong. Another thing that's useful is think about what could go wrong. If it was to go wrong, like the sound doesn't work or the lights go off, or maybe you get interrupted or you run out of time, what would you do next? I was doing an event, this is going back about 2 years ago, thanks to my friend Lena Tickley. I was doing a tour of South Africa with my stage hypnosis show. Fantastic, really great week. But what happens, my very first night in Johannesburg, I was working at Caesar's Palace. Really massive casino resort complex. And I had the wonderful job of doing a hypnosis show in their theatre. Now, because it was the first day and we don't get many hypnotists, what they'd done is brought all the press down. So it was a 500 capacity theatre, packed out. I would say somewhere in the region of half, maybe even 2/3 of my press and various invited dignitaries. So the show's going well. 45 minutes into the show, got 10 people on stage, all hypnotized, doing all the crazy fun stuff that I've asked them to do. And you can check online, you can see my hypnosis shows to see the kind of things that I do. And get them to speak Martian, become lap dancers, cheerleaders, become babies, everything. It's really funny. But anyway, 45 minutes into the show, all the lights go off. All the lights go off. So what do you do? The audience is looking at you thinking it's part of the show. At the same time, you're thinking, hold on guys, couldn't somebody just tell me what's going on? And nobody's telling you anything. So what would you do? You wait 10 minutes, nobody comes back to you with any more details, the audience are getting impatient. What do you do? Now this is important. As it gets slightly windier, let me move slightly away. Can you still see me here? Okay, that's a bit dark, but that's life. So what would you do? Stuck with a situation where the audience is waiting for something to happen and your equipment is broken down. In this case, extreme darkness. Well, very simple, thinking on my feet. I thought, we're in a theatre, so therefore when people do a play or they do some kind of show, they don't always have microphones, because my microphone, of course, wasn't working for electronics. The acoustics must be okay in this place. So I asked everybody in pitch darkness, oh, by the way, I couldn't do any routines and carry on with the show, because if I had done, then the guys were hypnotized on stage, would have done everything I asked them to do, and they would have injured themselves in the dark, because they can't see anything either. So I asked everybody in the room if they could still hear me, and of course at the back, with the acoustics they could do. So I said, everybody take a big deep breath, close your eyes, and I hypnotized everybody. I took them on a trip in their mind for half an hour until the lights came back on, and the lights didn't come back on. So what I got them to do was, when they came out of the hypnosis, switch on their phones, make a light, and make their way to the exits. Worked really well, massive round of applause, and got away with that one. I had a hypnotic experience for everybody, and of course we got out of a tight problem. We've had situations like that before. Rugby sevens, we've had the power going off, so you have to work with the audience. How do you work it if there's no microphones and no sound, but somehow you got the screens? You talk to them on the screens, you keep programming live on the screens. If the screens go off, you do something else. You put the cheerleaders on, you work away with the situation. There's always a way of getting out of it. So as I'll go back to it, make sure you over-prepare stuff. And be prepared not to deliver everything. Sometimes less is more. Get people to want more. Now, what are the massive fears of public speaking? So many people are petrified. And I'll do a proper session on public speaking at a later date. I just want to share with you some tips that are going through my mind about doing this. Now, the biggest fear on the planet, second biggest fear on the planet, is public speaking. 9 out of 10 people are more scared of that than anything else. The idea of standing up in front of an audience and saying things, and the audience turns around and laughs at them, and they feel ridiculous. It's almost like your entire insides are ripped out because they're not good enough. Well, how do you deal with that? How do you get your mind around that kind of fear? Well, remember, there's a couple of things. First of all, the audience has no idea what it is that you're doing. So if you get it wrong, and you don't do everything you planned, well, they don't know that. As far as they're concerned, you're just doing the best that you can, and the stuff that you're sharing should be pretty cool. I think the wind's died down slightly. So always be prepared to do the best that you can with what you've got. And don't worry about what the audience says, because I guarantee 99.99% of them would not want to be in your position, which is fab, because you're the person in charge. You have the microphone when it works, and you can dictate exactly what happens from the event. Now, hopefully I'll be able to give you a little bit of a broadcast, if we can get the Wi-Fi right, from the event. I can show you around the stadium later on today and show you exactly what it is that we're working with. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow, we'll have to see. But meanwhile, if you've got any questions about public speaking or any of the things I talk about, please feel free to leave your comments, and make sure you follow me on the page to make sure that you get all the latest updates as they come along. So when I go live on broadcasting on Facebook or wherever it is, you can catch it first. Right, I think it's been a little bit windy now. It's time for me to go and get my breakfast and then head down to the stadium to make sure everything's prepped and catch up with Andy and find out what kind of state he's in. You might get a chance to meet him. You don't meet him in here because we don't sleep together, because that'd be kind of freaky. And he's a bit fat and he'd take up most of the bed. So, there we go. Have a great day, and I'll take it easy myself, and I'll have an extra omelette for you. Bye-bye. See you. Bye-bye.